is he's good enough where he can get away with it, but like Aziz Ansari did it on the last season of Master None, where it's like when you have all that creative control, you have a lot of these really, really talented people that are like, no, just want to tell a little short film. I just want to make a 15-minute short film. And at least Atlanta does it with its main characters and not like just random side things that are invented.
There are definitely episodes of Atlanta where I'm like, what the heck? But I find it very compelling. But
yes.
But sometimes I'm like, I don't like what they're doing right now, but I still find it compelling that they're doing it.
It's, to me, the best episode of Atlanta, or the one that kind of encapsulates that gray area on the Venn diagram that it kind of it exists in, is that club episode from the first season with like all of a sudden there's like trap doors and invisible cars and all these like very silly cartoony sort of things in this very realistic sort of world, basically. But I like the most recent episode. It was good.
Most recent episode was so good. So good. I also didn't like the I don't know what we would call it, the recluse.
The Tommy Perkins, was that his name?
Tommy Perkins, yeah.
Was it Tommy?
Teddy Perkins.
Teddy Perkins.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what's going on right now.
I mean, wow.
I really don't like this is high art. But I don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah, the operative word.
High being the operative word, sure. Yeah.
Look, if they're going to take, by the way, did you read some of the behind the scenes on that episode?
No.
That he stayed in character off camera.
Teddy was in character and nobody knew.
Donald was not around. It was just Teddy.
Teddy worked with the director.
I think it's obvious, but maybe that's just because I saw maybe if I was, on the lot somewhere, I would be like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
I thought it looked like him.
People knew, but he was not reacting.
I see.
Teddy.
He was Teddy.
You were acting with Teddy. You were not acting with Donald.
Well, hey, let's all get our own shows. And then we can just sort of start experimenting in weird ways.
What do you think the drip is all about, Sarah? Taking her claim.
The drip.
Drip.
No?
Drip.
And then we can kind of like shorten it to D-drip.
Yeah. Talk about my tech news drip.
D''rip.
Yep. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tech be dripping.
Yeah. All right. You guys want? It's time for the news.
Let's do it.
It's about time for the news here.
Let's do it.
Well, here we go. Everyone ready? Everyone ready for the news?
Je suis prête.
Let's do it.
Daily Tech News Show is gonna start over again.
Sorry, my bad. It's my bad, y'all.
That's all right. I took too long to start.
Too long.
I faked you out. Head
Pump
faked.
fake.
Pump fake. All right, here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, April 23rd, 2018 from DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
Welcome, California. I'm Justin Robert Young.
Please welcome our producer, Roger Chang.
Hello.
Roger.
Roger.
Woo.
Justin.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about robots today from Amazon. Think about it like this. Kindle, Fire, Echo, robot. That's the timeline we're going to evaluate. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Here's what Tom was alluding to. Move over, Roomba, because Bloomberg reports its sources say Amazon is developing a household robot. We're going to talk a lot more about what this means a little bit later in the show.
Media research estimates music sales for artists without labels grew 27.2% in 2017, making it the fastest growing music segment. Media estimates that revenue based on artists who distribute through platforms like TuneCore, CD Baby, and Bandcamp are the reason for the surge.
Monday, the U.S. FCC's repeal of the Open Internet Guidelines took effect. The FCC has now officially reclassified ISPs to be information services again. They're no longer telecommunications service magically. Boom. U.S. Federal Trade Commission will now handle consumer complaints about ISP practices.
Right before the show, Alphabet's latest earnings report came in $13.33 per share on $35.15, $31.15 billion of revenue. $31.15 would be pretty bad. Anyway, they beat expectations of $9.30 a share on $24.75 billion. So quite a jump over what the street estimated. We'll talk about this a little bit later tomorrow when we have time to parse the information.
Yeah. A lot of people thought privacy was gonna hit them, but no,
that's all directed at Facebook.
Who can you trust, though? Who can you really trust in these tech companies anymore? Well, Justin, let's talk a little about that.
Thanks, Tom. A SurveyMonkey Recode poll asked people in the U.S. which tech companies have the most positive impact on society. Tying for first place with 20% was Amazon and none of the above, which is I don't know who invested in none of the above, but they're doing great right now. Google came second with 15%, followed by Apple with 11, Facebook with 10, pulling up the rear. The survey was conducted April 8th and 9th.
I mean, pulling up the rear out of those four, but I'll be honest, April 8th through the 9th is after all the Cambridge Analytica stuff had heated up. I checked on, I think April 8th, I wrote, here are the latest allegations against Facebook. Like we were already, in the groove of like, there's daily allegations against Facebook. Facebook's number 4. They're in front of Microsoft. They're in front of Tesla. They're in front of Uber, Netflix, Twitter, Snap, Lyft. Granted, most people are like, I don't think any of them have a positive impact. Well, not most, I guess 20%. It's none of them have above 50% being mentioned. So it's kind of spread out.
I mean, I would say all of these companies have a positive impact on my life in some sense, some more than others, I suppose. It's interesting that Amazon is still riding that. Yeah, and maybe it's because, as we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, they're innovating on the hardware side. Google is as well, but Amazon, perhaps more so, at least as far as the general public is concerned, to the point where it's still kind of exciting and new and convenient. Amazon Prime is the best thing ever. So that kind of data collection that Amazon is doing seems to be going under the radar a little bit.
I think people can understand and fully are comfortable with the 360 of their relationship with Amazon. I give them money. They sell goods cheaper. They get them to me early if I pay a yearly fee. That is the primary way people interact with it, and they get it from stem to stern. They don't.
Enriches your life.
Yeah, they don't with Google. You don't quite know how Google makes money. We're finding out how both them and Facebook actually make cash. And Apple, people like Apple, but it's a luxury good. That's never gonna be 100%. I love Apple for the people that can afford it.
Amazon brings you Christmas every day, right?
Yeah.
It brings you your birthday every day. When you interact with Amazon, things show up and you get to open them and you get things. Google, I mean, they give you email that you have to deal with and spam and search results. Like it's not the same positive hit.
Speaker here and there, but it's not the same.
Everybody else, Facebook, Twitter, they're all giving you grief. Like, oh my gosh, look at all these complaints from people I follow, right?
Like Facebook, baby pictures, Amazon, cat food.
Absolutely. And by the way, Amazon did deliver early something that I ordered yesterday, a Amazon Echo enabled coffee maker.
Whoa. Okay.
Very excited about it.
That is exciting.
Also, my wife works at Amazon, so we should probably stop me gushing about the company.
Well, moving on, this is, a bit of a pour out a little liquor for the Web 2.0 crowd. A photo storage site, SmugMug, has purchased Flickr from Verizon's Oath. Oath, of course, is the combined company of AOL and Yahoo, which is now under the Verizon umbrella. SmugMug said Flickr will continue to operate separately, at least for now. SmugMug was founded in 2002. Flickr was founded in 2004. And I looked it up and I was surprised because I didn't remember that it sold to Yahoo in 2005.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was independent for a lot longer than that. But hey, how quickly we forget.
Well, and it's one of those things where you've seen Flickr's fate go where our understandings of what was valuable when it came to photos online. Flickr was a place where the primary Flickr user was uploading what was thought to be high quality photos, which took up a lot of space. And now the idea of, oh, I can store all my photos on this thing that's easy to find and share. That's not where photos wound up going, you know.
Well, and Flickr was, you know,
going to Instagram and Snapchat.
And Instagram killed Flickr for me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want it to. I actually used Flickr as a cloud storage service, honestly. Yeah. In fact, that's why I just renewed my Flickr Pro account. Not really because I haven't even been to Flickr.com and looked at any of my collections in a long time. But at one point I was like, well, you know, if my house caught on fire, at least all my photos would be on Flickr still.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, I have so many other options now.
I can't believe you guys are not talking about Text America and Moblogging in relation to this story.
No, we could.
The what?
Would you like us to?
The thing that I can barely remember preceded SmugMug. And
I still have all of my data from my Text America blog.
Do you really? That's amazing.
I do. Yeah. They let me download it.
All right, let's talk about dreams. Motherboard reports on research from a team at MIT led by Adam Horowitz to study the effect of hypnagogia on creativity. Hypnagogia is that state you pass through when you're not awake anymore, but you're not quite fully asleep. You often have little micro dreams then.
Is it near Delaware?
Delaware?
Just kidding. Different kind of state.
Different state. Different kind of state. The hypothesis is that creativity is boosted during that stage. Is that better?
Yeah, sure.
Stage of sleep. The study uses an Arduino device called Dormio that measures your muscle tension, heart rate, and a few other things. There's a phone app that then plays a message that tries to incept something into your hypnagogic state. Wow. Remember to think about a rabbit is one example. And then once it detects that you're starting to get into the state, it says you are falling asleep. The idea there is to keep you from going all the way to asleep, but keep you in your hypnagogic state. And once you're there, the app starts asking you what you're thinking about and records the responses. Participants in the study have mostly scored higher on creativity tests after using Dormio. Horowitz will present his research this week at the Computer Human Interface Conference in Montreal.
That is fascinating.
Isn't it, though?
I had a crazy dream about a song. I wrote a chorus to a song and I told Ashley about it. And during exactly one of those, like I didn't know whether I was awake or asleep kind of dreams. And she was very nicely just told me to go back to sleep.
There are all kinds of creative people have talked about trying to take advantage of that state. Thomas Edison used to hold ball bearings in his hand so that when he got to that state, his hand would relax, the ball bearings would fall, it would wake him up, and he could remember what he was thinking and then write down his ideas.
Huh.
I mean, I've definitely gone through periods where I tried to write down my dreams right when I woke up, which if you don't do it, they'll go away, even if you think you'll remember them later. At least I don't.
You won't. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of particularly disturbing dreams that I have where I'm like, I'd love to try to figure out what the theme is here, you know, because nobody likes to have a nightmare. You know, for example, last night I fell asleep watching Barry, and I think the show, like there was a man's voice on the show, and I woke up on the couch being like, "Wah!" You know, thinking there was a man, you know, standing above me, and the cats are all freaked out and everything. But it's like, where's that coming from? You know,
I wonder if that was hypnagogia, where you were being incepted with that,
right?
Because it was fairly early. Because the difference between hypnagogia and real sleep is you're not in REM sleep. You're not fully asleep.
You're in that state where like you kind of jerk awake sometimes.
Yeah, and people can sometimes answer questions and talk in that state. It's
right, yeah.
Also, sometimes what people think are the experiences that folks have with ghosts or aliens. Scientists at the University of Washington had developed a video streaming method that uses 10,000 times less power than traditional method of streaming videos from wearables. The process uses backscatter to send 720p video to a nearby PC or phone. The prototype is limited to 10 frames per second at distances up to 14 feet. If that can be improved, wearable cameras could have smaller batteries and generate power from radio signals.
I mean, or like you wouldn't even need a battery if you can generate power from a radio signal. And if that's enough power, that blows up what you can do with wearable cameras. because you don't need to carry around a heavy battery in your glasses or your whatever.
Geez. I mean, this is how we get to the point where literally everything is filmed at all times, right? When we have like cracked this last hardware challenge of being able to transfer the data somewhere where it's recordable, that the battery power is so small or agile that it can be anywhere at any time.
It can be used for ill or good, right? There are lots of situations where having a live video stream can help with research. It could help with monitoring that aren't nefarious. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't mean to say that it's bad. I'm here to say it's inevitable. So let's all start brainstorming ways that we can be better and more responsible with it, because it is coming and it will be here before we know it.
And that sci-fi idea of the little thing that you stick on your face that does the video and you can barely tell it's there, so you don't even have to wear glasses or anything. That's not possible unless you can do this, because we don't, or if we come up with a really great way to make condensed batteries, which is even farther off. This could make that happen.
Moving on, Apple's acquisition of music identification service Shazam, still one of my favorite apps ever, is now facing an EU probe with antitrust regulators concerned the buy is designed to lock people into Apple Music. You don't say, EU regulators. The EU set a September 4th deadline to determine if Apple is getting unfair access to commercially sensitive information about users of rival music streaming services, and if Apple Music competitors might be harmed if Apple were to stop Shazam referring customers outside its own ecosystem.
You know, I remember Shazam used to have more options than the last time I used it. I've been sitting in the back of a Lyft, listening to music that the driver was playing and going, oh, that's a really good song. I wonder what that is. I would tap Shazam. It would bring up what the song was. And then I could add it to Google Play Music immediately. Now,
it's
when
Apple
I
Play.
do it, it only shows Apple Music and Spotify. So I don't know that the acquisition is the problem. I feel like they were already starting to clamp down.
You know, I noticed that too recently, and I figured, and I don't know if this is true, that it was because at one point when I set up, here are my accounts on various services, I just didn't have a Google Play or Spotify account.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's like, that's my option because that's actually the one that it can dump me over to. I didn't take it as, maybe, some impending acquisition, other services were going away. However, if it does mean that there are no other options once Apple officially acquires Shazam, I get what the EU is saying here.
Although, I mean, on Android, they still have the Google Play option. It didn't go away there. And Apple is just as likely to shut the thing down and just incorporate it into their own software.
Right? And I don't know how much I care, and this is because I selfishly use Apple Music. So I don't care if Shazam goes away and it gets built into Apple Music.
Oh, I care.
Well, of course. Again, it's one of these things where it's like, if you're in the ecosystem, it doesn't matter. It's just a feature that goes somewhere else, right?
You don't care about my well-being, Sarah? Come on.
I care about your well-being. I just care about mine more.
I just don't remember the song that would encapsulate your disappointment because you can't.
Because Shazam wasn't working for you anymore. Exactly. Yeah. And there are others, like SoundHound does a similar thing, but Shazam's just really good at this. So,
they got so much data. They have been, and Sarah, you nailed it, man. Shazam was one of those first apps that just made you realize what a good app could do. Because
it was magic. It was still magic to me.
Yeah.
That and the mobile web being able to settle sports arguments at a bar or a restaurant with your friends was like, okay, there's pre-smartphone and there's after smartphone. Now that these things that would forever be a complaint and argument can now be settled instantly.
All right, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in less than 5 minutes, the compressed version, we don't need extra battery power to do it. You can get it from Daily Tech Headlines on your Amazon Echo, on your Google Home, on the Anchor app, and also at dailytechheadlines.com. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman and Brad Stone. That Mark Gurman, man, the hits just keep on coming. They're reporting that sources tell them Amazon's been working on a project called Vesta. Vesta, the Greek god of the hearth and home. Project Vesta is working on a domestic robot Now, Amazon does have a robotics section for warehouses, right? And we've talked about that before. But this would be a consumer product. Greg Zare, who runs Amazon's Lab 126 Research and Development Division, is supposedly overseeing the project. That would make sense. Lab 126 did Fire TV. They did Fire Phone. They did the Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
So they have a history of developing this stuff. And their jobs page has several listings for jobs involving robotics. Sources are telling Gurman and Stone robots may end up in Amazon employee homes by the end of the year and be available to consumers by sometime next year, possibly.
So Amazon is in such a great position when it comes to this because A, they know how many of these things sell. And so they know exactly what they're going for. They probably know exactly what price point they want to sell it at. And this is their internal division is, all right, knowing all these definite factors, build us the best thing that you can. And their track record there, like you mentioned, is spotty. For every Echo, there's a Fire Phone. That is an absolute pile of garbage. But they know the value of that front page. They know the value of their email system. They will be able to blow out whatever they have and be done with it and iterate and be on to the next one. So
of all the blogs I read this morning about this, and a lot of the blogs were like, okay, I know what you're thinking. Why would I need a home robot? So here's an example. The robot can get you a beer from the fridge. That kind of thing, where I'm like, it's right there. But then I kind of thought about, okay, beer, haha, aside, accessibility. Mm-hmm. For a lot of folks where, getting something from the fridge or a cupboard or whatever might be way more of a hassle than having the Vesta robot get it for you. It's like, okay, this starts to make a little bit more sense to me.
And that is what robots are doing right now in a lot of places. Japanese companies generally leading the way. SoftBank has a few of these products. There's several other companies that have these products for assisting people, right? Amazon either is doing what they did with drone delivery, although I don't think they are because this is sources say, right? But with drone delivery, they made a big deal out of something that other people were already doing and trying to make it look like Amazon was inventing it, even though they weren't. This, because it's behind closed doors, I think they're really saying, what's the next step for Amazon voice services? Instead of talking to your Amazon Echo that sits over there, what if it's following you around and you're like, oh, hey, can you get me a screwdriver? I'd be very interested what they have found useful that it can do beyond just accessibility. And I'm not trying to minimize accessibility, but if they want this to be an Amazon Echo level product, it's got to do a lot of different things.
Well, and it's got to compete with something that is fairly intense and well entrenched. So right now you can contextualize what a Roomba is. It just does a cursory job of cleaning your floors when you're gone. And it's gotten better and, good enough at what it does that unless you're an idiot like me and stack 15 books on your nightstand and then it falls off and rips all your book covers off, it's going to do a good enough job.
I've never gotten the Roomba to work for me because I always have too much weird stuff going on the floor. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So if that is where there's no matter what, and when you're seeing it in the headlines, that's what we were going to think of when it comes to the price point. So you have to say, all right, how can we over deliver at the average price point of what a Roomba is going to be? And I think that will determine how successful it is.
It's Amazon voice services plus Roomba plus X, right? And it's that X that I'm like, okay, Lab 126, what do you got?
But right now, so I'm on Amazon right now, just strolling through, and I'll tell you what, these are pretty high. I mean, basically the lowest Roomba that you're going to get is $250, and they scale all the way up to $800. So, if they can come in anywhere between that $250 to $500 range, now the question is, what is that killer robot? Wrong word.
Hey, now hold on.
Wrong words. What is that? A very helpful robot.
What is the killer app for the helpful robot?
It's like, I feel like the Roomba. Robot? The Roomba is such a great example of something where it's like, I mean, it's kind of silly. Like, it's a little bit apples and oranges, but the Roomba was the first robot that a lot of people, Tom and Justin aside, because they have too many things on the floor, were like, this is amazing.
Yes.
I never have to vacuum. It does a really good job. This is great. I'll never go back to the old way of doing things. And then you think, okay, well, so there's that functionality. Can you then talk to the Roomba or the Amazon equivalent of that, and get, the weather for the day, or, when the next NBA game is on, things that I ask my smart speaker all the time. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the next thing? What's the next thing that I actually need that I don't realize I need yet, but I'm going to love once I have it?
Get the mail?
But even then, it's
then you might have to go outside. Like, my mail is like way downstairs. That would be crazy.
And I have a hard time believing that they're going to get into like articulated arms.
Well, that's where I'm getting hung up, right? Is the Echo with smart home can do a lot of things that you would think, oh, I'll have the robot do that, because it's just, you just have connected things, right? You can unlock the door for someone with Amazon products right now. You don't need a robot to do that. So what is the thing you need a physical robot wandering around to do? That's beyond, I mean, Sarah, you hit the only one that I'm certain of, which is assistance, right? Companionship, helping get that thing from the high shelf, et cetera.
Or maybe, again, it really depends on what your floor plan looks like. But right now, I'm in a room where I actually have a Sonos speaker that I don't have set up, but I'm far enough away from my Amazon speaker that if I'd have to really yell, Yeah. What if it's more of like, instead of having a speaker in every room, you just got a robot that's wherever you are in your house?
Well, I mean, really, but is that?
But then you're going to trip over the robot. It's never going to be fast.
Just get a 6-pack of Echo Dots, right? That just seems easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think what would be interesting is if they could do it as sort of a device, even if you have home security that you can access on your smartphone, what if you left something plugged in? Do you really want to drive like an hour back to your house to unplug it because you're worried about it, when you could have something there to kind of ancillarily like do that for you, those small tasks, like those, like,
Roger,
did I lock?
You just nailed it for me. Just a mobile security camera. A mobile security camera I would have in my house. It would tell me whether or not the door was locked. It would tell me whether or not the birds were in the cage.
Is the curling iron still plugged in or not?
Yeah.
Well, and if it had a single alarm or an apparatus that would allow it to do a limit, like even if you had to put tabs on your plugs to allow the robot to unplug it for you, that would still be huge, because there is a tremendous level of emotional comfort knowing that you can do something remotely even if you're physically not there.
And Amazon's the perfect company that you will trust Amazon to keep your data secure, and they would run an app that you would want to download.
They make our lives better.
Yeah.
Well, and smart outlets. You have smart outlets already. If this thing is like, oh, you just make sure you have smart outlets, and then it can deactivate any of them if you leave something plugged in, or it can turn off your smart appliances. Yeah, I think you nailed it, Roger. I think Justin's right. All right, get on it, Lab 126. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
I'll see you this Christmas. By the way, and I would say 60% chance that this is total garbage, because, like, again, they take a lot of hacks. And
I don't know, man. If it weren't Gurman, I'd say 60%. I'm going to say 40%.
Oh, no.
But even
the report's real. I'm saying the product.
Oh, that the report's real, that they're working on it, but that the product just doesn't ever. Yeah,
or it comes out and it's a Fire phone.
I mean, if they're testing it in employee homes and the employees are like, this is a terrible idea.
Sure.
Might not see it in 2019.
I don't know. I kind of thought that was going to be the case about the Amazon Go convenience store. And then my wife has actually shopped in one, and she's like, yeah, it totally worked. So who knows?
Oh, how about that?
Hey, thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and try out our Facebook group if you're into the Facebook thing still. Facebook.com/groups/Daily Check News Show. Daily Tech News Show. Daily Czech News Show is a very good show about Czech news for people interested in the Czech Republic. That's not us. It's Daily
Payday Loans
Show. or Payday Loans.
Or that, yeah.
Let's check the mailbag.
Let's do it.
With predatory loans.
John from Pendleton, South Carolina, keeps this whole Edison cylinder conversation going that we had last week. Got a lot of good feedback from people. John says, I just recently reread an article about the progress of a project run out of UCSB, that's the University of California at Santa Barbara, that is doing exactly this. Sounds like they may be able to help. This was Allison's original query. What do I do with these Edison cylinders? I want to digitize them. They have designed a special process to extract and convert the audio from the cylinders with as little damage as possible. Then he links to the project, cylinders.library.ucsb.edu. Says, hope it helps. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, I mean, you could scan flat LPs, like 33 to third LPs, and turn them into digital audio. There's companies that have worked on that. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do a similar thing with the cylinders. I know they're a little different, but that's very cool. Thank you, John. Also, Bruce wrote in our boss's Slack regarding Tesla and meetings. Remember Elon Musk last week sent the memo saying, meeting's not working for you, just walk out. Bruce says, we've moved from a small company to a large company over the years, and meetings can take over if you let them. I just tell my folks, don't go to a meeting that doesn't publish a specific agenda beforehand that includes what they want to accomplish or take away, and make sure at the end of the meeting someone is summarizing what the takeaway and action items are with deadlines for them. Then don't just not show up. Instead, decline the invitation and say why you did. When I did that a few years ago, when I first started to feel like my days were useless meetings, the quality of meetings I was going to went way up while the quantity went down.
I mean, I'm no meeting lover, but mileage may vary. I feel like it just depends on who you work with.
I feel like all meetings should be timed, and there should be loud buzzers that don't go off until everybody leaves the room, like at 30 minutes. Just like,
well, I feel like what Bruce is saying is a great. When I used to conduct meetings at Tech TV and even at CNET, I would say, "This is what we're going to do. Here's the question. Who's got an answer? Next, let's move it along. Let's move it along." Like you have to have someone who knows how to run a meeting. And
also, don't give me this. I'm taking notes on my computer. You're not. You're checking Twitter, and we all know it. And you need to put your laptop. Close your laptop. You're not.
Project the notes up so everyone can see them.
Although I used to have a boss who shall not be named, who insisted that nobody could have laptops open during meetings. And like half the time it was really inconvenient for all of us because there were answers that the laptops would have made a lot easier. And that didn't really work either.
Yeah. My wife had a similar, if not the exact same boss. I remember her being very upset about that. Yeah.
I'm saying you can pop them open, but just close. I'm just the persistent laptop is something that I've always found more of a hindrance to the flow of a meeting than anything.
By the way, I have a friend who works at a company owned by Elon Musk. I saw this weekend and I asked him about this. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm not following that. I don't care what he's like. That's just not what's going to happen.
Mayhem is not the solution.
Kind of depends on the division, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Well, thanks to everybody who emailed us. Of course, there are lots of emails that we're saving for our new mailbag episode, which we actually will announce soon since we're getting close to the end of the month. But for now, thanks to Justin Robert Young, who now joins us semi-regularly on Mondays, which is such a treat.
Oh, stop. You're going to make me blush.
Go on. But what's been going on with you since we saw you on Thursday?
Oh, man. Well, you want to know what? You guys can still go ahead and get my thoughts on the world of politics. Super quick and easy. 5 days a week for free. It's a political newsletter. So you can go to freepoliticalnewsletter.com and sign up for my free political newsletter, the Politics Daily. It's a super quick read. And this week we're trying a little something out different where I'm going to be sending it out so overnight. So you'll get it as soon as you wake up, either West Coast or East Coast.
Oh, very cool. Let me tell you, P3X, as those in the know call it.
Sure. Or PX. It's fine.
Fills a great need for me. I have overcorrected, and I don't read the bubble. I don't read the crap that's out there. And your show makes sure I know, like, okay, in a package that's not going to overly influence me, what's actually being discussed, what's going on. It's an incredibly valuable resource.
Well, thank you. And of course, that's the Politics podcast. You can download that wherever podcasts are found. iTunes, Apple or Google Play, all the hits.
Right now, we have at least one, I think we have maybe 9 more patrons than last month. We want that number to keep going up.
Hey.
And we've been promising we would do something, possibly involving a tarantula, at the end of this month if we hit that number. Now, here's the thing. As someone pointed out, actually a few people have pointed this out, I don't want to do something that we can't top the next month, right? We always, because we're going to want to do something to thank you every month.
Tom will not be mauled by a lion.
Yeah, exactly.
In order to
for many reasons
get another patron.
But yeah, so if you want the more patrons over the number, the more likely I am to do something really silly. So please, by all means, if for no other reason than to see that, go and support us at patreon.com/DTNS.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you got ideas for us, you got questions, or anything in between, we'd love to hear it. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC. You can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Lamar Wilson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
You should have your parrots. Do they do the speaking bit?
They're not parrots.
No, doctor
not
doctor will just say hi, doctor, but he's not even really saying it. He's just making the kind of tonal, like kind of sound. So it just like he'll whistle and then we'll say hi, doctor, and then he'll whistle and then we'll say hi, doctor, and that'll be that.
I was wondering if they could do the ha 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 or the hee 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 bit.
No, I don't think that they can do the brushwood chuckle.
Or maybe just start playing it on loop.
And do
see
the
if it's-
brushwood chuckle.
You know, we tried to get him to learn the Game of Thrones theme. And so we would just play, we would leave and just play the Game of Thrones on like those 10-hour loops.
And just see, like, maybe he'll pick up some of it.
Well,
and
neighbor's supposed to love that.
For a little bit, he was able, if I did the like, he would start to do it, but he
Be
had
like, I know it. I know this one.
kind of fallen out of it.
A long time ago, because I have my bird stories as well. We thought it would be great if Squeakers got the do baseball thing.
Yeah.
And he would go do. So he was getting really close.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'd whistle, and he'd kind of get it, and we'd be like, he's trying. And then finally he did it one day, and the whole house erupted, and we're like, rah! And he never did it again.
Right, he's just scared the
Because
crap out
we
of him.
scared him. He's like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
I didn't like that reaction at all. Even though we were happy, it scared him. All the things we do to birds. They're so smart, though.
Titles.
Yeah, what are we calling this, Roger?
So we can either do Amazon keeping it close to the Vesta. All right, fine.
It's only character count. It's
Oh
only
my
character
God.
count.
Amazon's Robot Prime Directive. Or Kindle Fire Echo.
Actually, Amazon keeping it close to the Vesta isn't as long as it sounded, now that I'm looking at it.
Or you could just say in keeping close, take a couple characters out.
Amazon keeps it close to the Vesta.
Yeah. Do that. That sounds good.
All right.
I wonder if they're going to have to come up with their own Amazon rules of robotics.
I don't know.
Thou shalt not clean when the door is closed.
Well, actually, the rules of robotics from Asimov are fiction. They do not apply very well in a real robotic situation.
You know what? Why don't you get some nasal decongestant and come back and talk to me so I can understand you. Actually, I'm just hungry and I want a slice of pizza. Can you robot? Ooh, what if it was a robot with an easy bake oven in the middle?
What if?
With a Tavala.
Ah,
It could go get the Tavala out of the refrigerator, put it in itself, steam, broil, bake it.
really?
Boom.
Everyone either wants Irona from Richie Rich or Rosie from the Jetsons. Where
Do
like
they,
the
though?
I want
I
it,
don't want Rosie. Rosie she had too much opinions.
but that's great. It's sassy and
Many.
can make a good.
No one.
I don't
know
need a
for that.
sassy robot in my house.
Get
all
out
right?
of here.
Yeah. No, be quiet.
I don't need to be looking at that robot being like, come on. Really? You went there?
I go home to escape people like that.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. J. My Rosie impression.
That was really good.
Listen, I don't do a lot of them. Every once in a
But
while,
when you do them,
break them out.
you nail them.
No, my Hanna-Barbera.
It's a good question though. Like there was a time when Rosie the robot is what everybody thought of when they thought of a home robot, but I don't think that's true anymore. What do we think of Roomba? I think because it's a real robot.
No, I think what we wanted to the idea that we were getting at with Rosie, I think artistically, is AI. Is that there will be somebody that now, in obviously this very domesticated lens of what television entertainment was, that we will have somebody that will fill that role for us.
So Bender.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I think now what we've realized is that we don't really want chatty robots. We want robots that speak when they're spoken to.
But it's also like it gets into a weird gray area too, because it's like we no longer think like, oh, a robot is this like metal machine that's sort of like a person. You know, we're like, nah, it's not. It's different than that, right? That was just what we thought of before we knew how technology would make that possible. But it's still supposed to give us answers in our natural human language that we're like, oh, that's a good answer. That's an answer that a human might give me. But there's so many limitations. I mean, with my, Amazon smart speaker, she does these things where I'm like, gosh, you guys really got to figure this out. It's like, I understand why you're getting this wrong, but it's the most natural way I could ask these questions, and you don't get it. For example, so the Warriors were playing yesterday, and I was like,
yes, I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Yeah, well, hey, 3-1. But, it was early in the day. So they went at home. See, they're doing it on purpose. But I was like, oh, it's early in the day. Like, are they playing yet? I didn't remember. So I asked her, when's the next time the Warriors are playing? And she tells me Tuesday. And I'm like, Tuesday. And then I was like, that's not right. But it was because I said next.
Yeah.
Where she skipped the game that was already in process.
Oh, yeah. See, that's not right.
Because so what I'm like, I gotta tell somebody at Amazon that like what she should say is, just in case, like next means now and or next, depending on the
that's funny. I feel
that she should say, besides the game already in progress, the next game would be on Tuesday. So it's like these little things where I'm like, see, that bothers me. But
I kind of feel like that is getting smarter, and that's something where that's a real, like what kind of data they're pulling. Because I've definitely had, I forget which assistant it was, where it's like I asked for a score and it gave me, here is the current game, the next game, and like how far out of first they are.
Oh yeah, no. If you say, when are the Cardinals playing?
Yeah.
Don't use the word next. It gives you exactly what you said.
Yeah.
It's when you say next, it gets all super literal. Like, well, you said next, so the next game. We assume they're playing.
The
right
Amazon
now.
smart speaker should say, like when you scold it, it'll say, actually, you said next, and since the game is.
If you were a real fan, you would know they are playing right now.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it'll just start scolding you like Odaka.
Which is, it's one of those things where I'm like, I've gotten it. We've gone over this a couple times now, where I'm like, oh, I get why I'm tripping her up.
Oh yeah, totally.
But also, it's like that's the question that I would ask any of you, and you would know.
You'd be like, actually, they're playing right now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when are they going to start loading in the home doctor like aspect of smart speakers? Because one of the most interesting things is every time a new technology comes along, besides porn, what also ships is some sort of medical like advice or something that you can look up yourself, right? Remember when CD-ROMs came out? You get like an entire
You don't have a smart speaker, do you?
No.
Because you can do that.
Pwned.
Boom.
No, but I mean like where it would be like a branded thing. So
yeah, there's a bunch of skills from various medical for like
nice.
WebMD kind of places.
I was thinking Dr.
Never
Oz.
tell my wife about that, because that would be the only thing. Oh, I would look back at our Alexa history and it would be nothing. But
I don't know how good they are. I haven't tried them.
Questions that she has at all times.
What about Dr. Phil pseudo-psychiatry sessions?
We're gonna get that Gwyneth Paltrow skill, that goop.
Yeah, where it's like, just get in a sauna. It'll fix it.
Hey, by the way, Oakland now entered the Oakland Port Commission entering into exclusive negotiations with the Oakland A's for the second time in 4 years for the Howard Terminal location for a new stadium. That is
Right,
right
the
by
Howard Terminal is the one at the docks.
right by the ferry.
So they're, but Oakland, but the A's made an offer on the Coliseum lot too, right?
Yes, and now Oakland realizes that the city realizes that they can make a lot more money, and there's been rumors that Tesla wants to buy that.
Okay.
For a thing, so they want to be able to sell that for more than what the A's would want to.
Well, because the A's were offering to just pay off the debt.
Pay off the debt like immediately, basically.
Yeah.
But then also have the ability to build more stuff there. The city wants them to be at Howard Terminal, and now the reason why it apparently fell apart the first time was because you can't just build something there. Like, this is Northern California, so not only you're going to need environmental things, there's like a million different hoops.
Because that was the nice thing about the Coliseum is all the environmental impact reports are done. Yeah.
But 50 acres north of Jack London.
You also don't have transportation there, so you got to figure that all out. Not that you can't, but yeah, but like the Coliseum has BART and freeway access and everything already there. Howard Terminal, you're going to have to change the kind of access.
No, it's no more of a walk from public transportation.
Where are you going to park?
Than BART is to.
What's the BART station for Howard Terminal?
It would be
Alameda, right?
No, it'd be the 12th Street one. The one.
Yeah, that's a little longer. That's a little farther.
Maybe they can
I'm not
build
saying
a
it's impossible. It's just you got to figure all that stuff.
Oh, it's a long walk from the Embarcadero stop to get to the Giants Stadium.
Yeah, but you've got a train that drops you off right next to the park.
If you get onto another train.
Well,
I mean,
but that's why
there's no train that goes to the Howard Terminal.
Well,
also, the city does. Number one, listen, I walk.
I'm not trying to shoot it down. I'm just saying Coliseum already has all those problems.
I walk this all the time. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
All right, fine.
The city agrees with you guys, and they love, and so do the Oakland A's. They want an overhead tram to shuttle fans between downtown Oakland and Howard Terminal.
Because people won't go. Even if it's silly, people are like, oh, I have to walk, forget it.
I mean, it's a walking city. Has LA broken you so quickly?
No, I'm just saying, like, this is just human nature. This isn't a city-specific thing. If you want to sell the maximum number of tickets, you have easy transportation.
What they do is they line the area like they do downtown Disney with shops and restaurants.
Well, that's what I would,
it's not an either or. That is also part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already halfway there. I mean, like, Jack London has got stuff. It's just that it didn't.
Let me tell you, the Dodgers is a nightmare for that because there's nothing there but parking lots.
Yeah.
So they have the same problem.
But there is plenty of parking.
Sort of. I guess.
I mean, have you ever been there and not been able to park? It's just like
I've never not been able to park, but I've been not been able to leave.
Yeah,
the leaving is an issue.
Yeah.
I think that getting the hell out of there in a car.
Yeah.
Although it is by the highway, so like push comes to shove, at least you're not sitting in an access road for 3 hours.
Well,
I don't know, man. I've been sitting on the access road coming out of the Coliseum, and it had a BART station. So
I've been stuck.
Yeah,
at Dodger
I'm
Stadium
just saying.
I'm looking this up here. I'm looking this up because I don't think the 12th Street. If you get out on 12th Street, here we go. This is a part of the drip that I like to call very, very, very local. This is the local drip.
Yeah, this is our 510
Up
local
next
edition.
on the drip. Sorry, I got it wrong. Up next on the drip.
The drip.
Thank you.
Think about Debrat.
Yeah.
Just listen, if you
Keep
work
her
at
in
Schnitzer
mind,
Steel,
and then you'll remember. Yeah.
if you work at
The
Schnitzer
Brat.
Steel or Ink Shares, you're gonna love the park being at Howard Terminal.
Well,
12th Street's on the other side of 980.
It is. So you got to walk under the highway.
People don't like that though. Again,
just
it's
have
not
to
about
cross the
what's
highway. It's no big
reasonable.
deal.
It's like when someone's deciding to buy tickets to the Giants or the A's, and they're like, oh, but I have to walk under the freeway in Oakland. If you're like, oh, train takes you right there, then they're like, oh, all right.
whoa, Salesforce has a gondola?
Of course,
We're learning so much about Oakland.
I'm not sure that's what this is. It might just be like a worker thing.
Okay.
No, but, yeah, Jack London Square being right next to it, that's a big
Jack
plus.
London Square. All right, it's a 12-minute walk.
12 minutes is a lot, man.
Come on.
Addition discussion of food. What do you guys like eating at the Ballpark when you're there?
Nachos.
You know what you do? You make Jack London Square the stop, and you build an exit that goes out, like you walk underground all the way over past Yoshi's.
Sure.
Like, because San Francisco does that all the time. Like, oh, you just get off Embarcadero and, walk 15 minutes underground and then you come up and you're right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could do that. I don't know about a tram. Also, there is a free bus that goes down Broadway.
Well, what's wrong with the tram? Because could they just replicate what they built for the Oakland airport?
Yeah, that's fine. I
get what Justin's saying. Like, this is even closer than the airport, though. Like,
yeah, I mean,
if you have a tram go from the Jack London Square stop to Howard Terminal, that's short.
What if they made a zip line ride?
Now, a zip line would be rad. All I'm saying is this, man. By the time that this thing gets built, I just don't know whether or not the tram will be in a world with ride shares and motorized scooters and all the other ways that we have to get from point A to point B, that there's not going to be 50 different ways that you can get to a ballpark in 2024 whenever
Oh, wait. I was looking at the bus stop for Jack London Square. Lake Merritt is the stop. It's by Laney. All right. Anyway, yeah, the point I was trying to make is not that this is an insolvable problem, but it's something that they have to look at and go, okay, does this all work? Whereas Coliseum was already like, yep, it's built, done, it's all taken care of.
Well, they would still wind up building a new stadium, I think.
Oh yeah, they would just tear down the Coliseum and build on that site.
I just I just know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to build this thing and I'm like literally going to wind up moving like the second before it's there. I just know it. I can.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That happened to me where I lived in Lake Merritt and I moved and all the good restaurants opened up. So yeah, next phase.
And all the cool people moved in.
Yeah. Well, mostly.
And now you just got some freeloaders just popping out.
Oh man.
All right. Ballpark food. I'm always doing a hot dog and I'm always doing popcorn.
I always do hot dog if I've never been there before. I always got to try the hot dog. But if I'm a regular, I always find a thing like a park specific thing that I like.
But what would be different about the hot dogs? I mean, aren't they all just kind of purchased and then
the buns that's like saying are a different vendor?
Why would you go to what's the difference between McDonald's and Five Guys? I mean, aren't they just burgers?
No, because I'm talking. The concessions are going to be different.
They're not all made by the same people. They're different restaurants.
Eh?
I'm a fan of the Ballpark nacho. They're the worst nachos around.
Oh yeah, no.
It's the same thing as movie theater nachos. It's the time where you're like, I want Velveeta.
Yeah.
And, maybe a jalapeno or two, maybe not.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm eating. But I really enjoy them at a ballpark. I wouldn't want them at a Mexican restaurant. I'd be like super offended. But I like the fake cheese.
Where are you at with the ham?
Not fake.
Though?
It is fake.
No, I used to serve it. It's just processed.
Okay, well, whatever. You know what I mean.
Okay, all right.
Processed to the point of unrecognizability.
Hey, Sarah, where are you at with the hand mess though? There's a lot of hand mess that comes along with nachos, and it's
what do you mean hand mess? You dip the chip in the nacho.
A lot of loose cheese, man.
Those chips get soggy towards the end, though.
No, guys, no. You're thinking of something else. The cheese is on one side. The chips are in the other part of the plastic container.
Oh,
your jalapenos,
no.
And you do your little scoopy scoop, and then you blow.
Okay, you're not getting loaded nachos. You're just got it.
Yeah, no. If that were the point, I wouldn't do it.
You don't get a nod drip.
That's why you blow.
Yeah.
You solidify your creation, then you eat, and then you don't burn the roof of your mouth.
It's almost like a virtual lacquer.
Yes, that's right. Nacho lacquer.
And on
that's
that
the name
note,
of our show, by the way,
we'll see you guys tomorrow with Lamar Wilson.
Yeah,
right.
on the drip.